All right, welcome to our lecture on HTTP, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's a fundamental protocol that powers the World Wide Web. So every time you use a web browser, uh, basically HTTP is at work. What HTTP does is it facilitates communication between your web browsers and web servers. Thus, it enables you to access and interact with websites. So let's look at HTTP request basics. HTTP operates on a request response model. So a client, usually your web browser, will send an HTTP request to a server. This request is made up of several key components. Uh, One of the component is the HTTP method, and HTTP method defines the action to be performed. And these actions are like get, post, put, delete, and the path to the resource, the HTTP version, and various headers providing additional information. So let's look into HTTP methods more closely. So I briefly mentioned these different methods. So the get method is used to retrieve information from a server, and post is employed to send data to a server. You often use this method when you're trying to submit a form, and put method is used when you're trying to update existing resources on the server. And lastly, delete is used when you want to remove resources. And each method serves a distinct purpose in web communication. So HTTP versions and headers, there are multiple versions of HTTP, with 1.1 and 2.0 being the most used. So headers in HTTP requests play a crucial role in providing additional information about the request and the client making it. So for example, headers can specify the type of content being requested. As you can see, content type, text JSON, and you can set the preferred language, and you can also set the format of data being transmitted. If you see this example, there are 5 lines, but if you actually look at some of the headers, you will be able to see more lines that specify what this request is about. HTTP response structure. So HTTP responses from a server follow a format similar to requests. They begin with headers, and they followed by an optional message body. And this optional message body contains the actual content being delivered. So the most popular, or the most we've dealt with, would be HTML documents or images. So say you interact with a web server that serves a test HTML web page, and you would have message HTTP response that is similar to what you see in this example. And this structure of responses is crucial for web clients to not only interpret but display the content correctly. HTTP status codes. So HTTP status codes are a vital part of the response, and it indicates whether a request was successful. So uh, it ranges from 100 to 599, and these codes are grouped by their purpose. So from 100 to 199, it's informational. Uh, Successful would range from 200 to 299, and redirection would range from 300 to 399. Client error would range from 400 to 499. And lastly, the server error would range from 500 to 599. By having this status code, uh, they quickly inform the client about the result of their request without having to check the message. So we said in the previous slides, their status codes are grouped by purpose, and there are some common status codes that you will frequently encounter. And I picked 5 of them, and they are 100 continue, which is an informational group, and 200 okay. You usually get this when you have successful response, and 301, which is moved permanently, and 302 found. Uh, there are in redirection category, and among 400 through 499, 404 not found would be the most common you probably have already seen, and 500 internal server error when there is an issue with a server. And these codes provide essential feedback about the request processing. Uh, so, so far we talked about HTTP. Now let me talk about HTTPS. So there's an S in the end. So when security is a concern, HTTPS comes into play. It's basically the secure version of HTTP. And HTTPS employs encryption to safeguard the data exchange between a client and its server. And this is really important because these days we transmit sensitive information like credit card details, password, uh, our personal information. So it is important to ensure that the uh, data remains confidential and protected from eavesdropping. HTTPS in everyday use. So in HTTPS, basically, before data is sent, information is encrypted into a code that only the receiving computer can decipher. Uh, this is why you often see a like lock icon besides the URL in your web browser. Uh, this lock icon exists to signify that you are in a secure connection. Uh, Despite this encryption, HTTPS requests and responses behave very similarly to HTTP. I guess it makes sense because HTTPS is kind of built on HTTP. So it maintains the same basic structure and content. So as a conclusion, to summarize, HTTP is the foundational protocol for data exchange on the web, and it is essential for functioning of any web client and server. And by using HTTPS, we make sure that we are exchanging information securely. So understanding the structure of HTTP request and response, along with the significance of status codes, give us a clear picture of how the web operates and communicates. And this is really, really important if you are interested in going in the field of web development. Thank you for listening.